afternoon. It is about 3:30 in the afternoon, I think. We are just stopped here at a place called El Rosario for a little bit for a quick bite at this restaurant. I just got a sandwich and some snacks, nothing too crazy. But yeah, everything's good so far. Heard the bus driver mention inside to somebody else there's about four and a half hours left to Guerrero Negro from here, so we may actually get in a little bit early, which would be nice. But it has definitely gotten warmer the farther south we are, for sure. You can feel it. Anyway, all good. Just wanted to shoot a quick clip to say that, yeah, trip is good so far. This is one of the longer bus rides I think I'll have throughout most of my time in Mexico, running about 10 to 11 hours. But next stop, Guerrero Negro. Good morning from Guerrero Negro here in Baja Sur, Mexico. I arrived here last night about 8:30 or so in the evening after a lengthy 10-hour bus ride from Ensenada. The old Highway 1 that runs the length of Baja is pretty much the only way to get down south. That old road was in pretty rough shape in some spots. We were creeping along there probably about, 10, 15, 20 kilometers per hour for, pretty good sections of it. The road's very narrow, very beat up, but kudos to the bus driver. He obviously has driven this route many times and knew where all the bumps were and where to slow down and where to be careful. So that was great. So it is just after 9 here in the morning and I am going to go get some breakfast. There's a restaurant here on site, so I'm going to go check that out first. And then I have to find an ATM because I'm out of cash this morning as well. But that's no big deal. We'll figure that out. Guerrero Negro is most famous for whale watching during the migration of the whales up the Pacific. But that's a different time of the season, so we're sort of here off season from that. For now, let's go get some breakfast. So I'm here at the restaurant at Terra, and yeah, this looks delicious. This is chilaquiles divorcidados, which is essentially red and green tortilla with sauce, refried beans, fried egg, fried potatoes, aka french fries, with sauce and coffee. So we're going to give this a try. This is a fairly common Mexican breakfast. And I've had it a couple times already. Didn't record any video on it, but it's usually pretty delicious. I'll have to look up the recipe on this sometime, because it seems like something I could definitely make at home. Really, really good. Everything's delicious. Alright, let's finish up. So I'm just going to go for a little wander here in Guerrero Negro. It's sunny and warm, but there's a surprisingly cool breeze since we're relatively close to the water, just over that way. And yeah, so I have to go find an ATM firstly. And yeah, we'll see what else we can find along the way. But beautiful day here. Not a cloud to be seen. And yes, I remembered sunscreen this time. So this Don Vicente Hotel was another one that I had looked at staying at prior to deciding to finally stay at Terra. Prices here seem pretty good, $25 or $30 US a night, but ultimately I went with Terra. Well, so far my quest to find a working ATM is 0 for 2. I've been walking down the main street here in Guerrero Negro for about 25 minutes, maybe, more or less. And I found one bank machine that was closed, and I found another one that was out of order. So 0 for 2. So I spoke to the security guard, and he said there's another bank farther down the road, so I'm just going to keep walking until I find it. It's a good thing that there's a nice breeze today, because without it, this heat would be pretty oppressive at this point, as expected. Cool here at night, hot during the day. Make sure you bring lots of water and a hat and some sunscreen, because you'd need it. So it's 20 after 1, and I am back at my hotel after a near 4-kilometer walk in the heat. I finally found the bank. I had to go, it was my 4th attempt. I found 3 places that had bank machines or ATMs or whatever, but all 3 of them were either closed or didn't work or were out of money. So I finally got to the bank at the other end of the town and got some cash like I wanted to, but it was just too hot. It was just too far to walk back another 4K in that heat. Says it's currently 25 Celsius, but it feels way hotter than that, obviously. And so I just thought it was smarter to get a taxi back. So yeah, it's just a good reminder that if you are traveling and you're traveling somewhere where it's hot, either avoid the midday altogether, which is what a lot of people do. A lot of locals tend to do that. Or B, make sure you're well prepared with lots of water, sunscreen, a hat, and something just to kind of wipe off your brow with, like a towel or something. As they say in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, a towel is the most important thing you can have. And it remains true. I was going to go and try and do a tour of the salt mine that's here. I called today and there was no way to get in today or tomorrow. You have to, I guess, call in advance and book it. Or if you're with a tour group, you can do that sort of thing too. But where I'm traveling by myself, the tour groups won't go with just one person. So I think my plans from here are to spend tonight's here in Guerrero Negro and then continue on down Baja California in Mexico and hit up a couple of spots that were recommended to me and are only a couple of hours away, which is nice too. So yeah, that's going to be my plan. Guerrero Negro has been a good stopover. I have to say this hotel is fantastic. If you are traveling down Baja in Mexico and you get to Guerrero Negro and you need a place to crash for a night or two, Terra is great. So I would recommend that for sure. So I'm going to take a break for a little bit, do some work, and then I'm going to go out and get some supper. I have a recommendation of a restaurant here in town that's supposed to be quite good. Good evening from Guerrero Negro. It is just after 6 p.m. And after going back and relaxing for a bit, getting out of the heat for a while, I'm heading over to a restaurant to try some local fare for supper. The restaurant is Restaurante Cazuelas, which is just here up ahead. It's certainly cooled off from earlier. Now it's really nice. The sun's pretty low in the sky, so all the heat's gone. But the breeze is still up, so makes it alright for walking. One of the things I've enjoyed so far is that everywhere I've gone, there's been fresh salsa and chips at the table while you wait for your main meal. And the beer is not my main meal, I promise. More to come. There's also a free vegetable soup included, which smells delicious. Tacos con carne. Get some nice lettuce, tomato, bit of squeeze of lemon on it, or squeeze of lime on it, I mean. And yeah, let's give those a try. So this was the main course that I ordered, which is a Mexican combination plate, essentially. Oh. Perfect. Gracias. A chicken taco. It has an enchilada. It also has the rice and beans with it, and some salsa, and some extra tortillas as well. So really excited to get into this. This is absolutely delicious. So there's the stuffed chili pepper. And there's even an enchilada here that I missed initially. So that place was awesome. The food was delicious. It was fast. You get the free nachos and salsa. You get a free soup to start with. And I'm waddling home now because I'm so full. So for the 2 carne asada tacos, the main mixed plate, 2 beer, and a Diet Coke on the way home, because, you know, I'm trying to watch my weight and all, came to 365 pesos, I believe it was. Pretty great deal for all that. What I find really interesting here is that when you go to a restaurant, beer, pop, drinks of whatever are the same price they'd be in the supermarket, pretty much. So, like, you know, you go to a liquor store back home, and I'll just use a bottle of beer as example. A bottle of beer back home at the liquor store is, you know, $3 to $5, depending on what kind you get. You go to a restaurant, and that same beer is $7 to $10, or maybe even more. Here in Mexico, if you go out to a grocery store and pick up, again, just a single bottle of pop or can of beer or whatever, or at a restaurant here, they're basically the same price, which I find really interesting in a good way. But anyway, that's my weird thoughts for the evening. It's actually kind of getting cloudy here at the moment, and the temperature has dropped, but it's nice, and it's just you can see the hotel just there in the distance. If I have to complain about anything in Mexico so far, it is the prevalence of wild dogs. And I remember that when I've been to other Latin American countries before, when I was in Costa Rica, when I lived in Peru. It's the same sort of thing. A couple times today I've come a little closer than I'd like to, I guess, to some wild dogs, groups of wild dogs in some cases. Now, as is usually the case, they are mostly just barking. Being a solo traveler in a foreign country, in a fairly small town like this, it's something you have to be acutely aware of. Because the last thing you want to have to deal with is getting bitten and then navigating all the things that are involved with that in a language that I'm certainly not fluent in. You just gotta kind of keep your eye open. But it's like everything else. You just have to be aware of your surroundings and pay attention to what's going on, and generally speaking, you can figure it out. You either cross the road to the other side, and you can usually tell, in my experience, if a dog is barking but the tail is going the whole time, it's more of a warning shot than anything else. That's my rambling for this evening. It is a beautiful night here, getting cooler by the minute, I might add. Good morning from Guerrero Negro. I am heading out in a few minutes on to my next stop, which is going to be San Ignacio, about 2 hours southeast of here on the Highway number 1, as we continue our trip south through Baja, Mexico. Guerrero Negro was okay. Had a alright time here. Not a lot to do this time of year, but the hotel was great. The food I had here was great, and the people were great. Everyone I talked to, everyone that I asked for help or assistance with, were more than happy to, give me a hand with whatever I needed. So yeah, it was all right. It was a good little stop. Onward we go to San Ignacio, and I'll see you when we get there.